Where this comes from was that it was difficult for us to take a child high on drugs into a shelter. Because the shelter would be saying, but this child is still so high on drugs and everything. She will destabilize the environment we're trying to put out. They were afraid to take this child. But we are saying, as long as you can bring in a child, bring the child in. Let's stabilize the child, and then after a month and hope that the child is ready enough to move into a more stable and structured environment where he can therefore survive in a shelter. That's for children. Another shelter that has been initiated by the city is Hospital Hill. This is for adult males. Males and women. This also takes the people in for us. Remember, we've got a very large population on the streets. So even as we initiated this facility, we were hoping to put people there for 6 months. It would mean you closing in a whole lot of other people out. So we said, let's put in the number of people who, in a month's time, the person says, I'm waiting for my papers from my Home Affairs. I'm waiting because that's mostly what they say. I'm waiting for this and this. I'll be able to find my way in a short space of time. Take that person, put them in a space. In a month's time, hope that this person will move on and to where they were wanting to go. Or even in a month's time, it's able to, the city established this one for adults and contracted NGOs to run the facility. One of the very specific mandates of the NGO is to try and place this person in a job. And most of them are put into security work or some various types of, small jobs that don't need a professor's certificate. And your security is one of those to a very large extent. So that in a month's time also, that lot can make space for another group to come in. And this is the one that is run from Hospital Unit. What are we hoping to achieve as a department? To ensure a sustainable, clean, accessible, and child-friendly environment. Similar with your partner. Appropriate databases and registers of street children and adults in the city. We on a daily basis, as we bring the people into assessment centers, we capture the data. We enhance individual community participation in programs aimed at improving the lives of people living and working on the streets. Because without a skill, very basic skill, matric won't do anything. Give a skill and the person might be able to survive. All children and people living and working on the streets will be linked to support services with their families and facilitate the development of a range of rehabilitative, preventative, and capacity building programs to be run in the shelters. And we realize that one of the very important programs is the preventative programs that we run from the schools. Partners, very important partnership with community stakeholders across the city. Partnership established with various stakeholders serving the needs of the displaced. We hope to be partners to help trace the families who need to be reunified. Some of the people have left their families long time ago. With some it's easy. They'll say, I've stolen a phone and I've ran back from home. Then you need to negotiate with the family to take the person in. But some of them said, I left home 5 years back. I don't even know if my family is still there. So we actually drove to those places to find. We actually drove as far as Ekurhuleni sometimes, because we were told you can actually go beyond the borders of Joburg to try and achieve what you're trying to achieve, to try and reunify these people. I don't understand these people, our displaced people. Is to support people reunified with their families once they get back home, is to link dysfunctional families to accessible supportive services in their various communities, is to continue to identify new hotspots in the area and alert DP. Now that's, we hope, the role of the NGOs, because we cannot be all over at the same time. But we all mostly and continuously get referrals that says, I passed this and this hotspot, and there are homeless people in that hotspots. Can you go and intervene? So with this type of intervention partnership, we hope we'll be able to dig out even those that we haven't seen. Operations. We have an area that we refer to as operations. Maybe let me start off by saying in this department, we've got 3 little sub-units, sub-functions, yes. We've got a function that talks to shelters, that we've already done. We've got a function a little role that is done by operation. Here, operations means the overall purpose of this function is to put in operations, plans and systems for the removal and management of the displaced persons. How do we do this? We do this through identification of hotspots, areas. We use the term hotspot as our own terminology for talking about a space that has been invaded. It's allocation of resources for daily intervention. You know, we use transport a lot. Where are we going? Where will this content be going for today? Are we taking pamphlets for today? What are we specifically, so that then we know what are we doing for the particular day and what resources we will require for that day. It's the development of intervention schedules for outreach purposes. Because if you just woke up and decided on a morning, this day we're going to Melbourne, to do what? But then you need to develop definite schedules where we say Monday to Friday, this is where we will be going, and this is what we will be doing, and hope we achieve better results in that. This is what we need to do to restructure those spaces. With the help of SAPS and JNPD, how do we address the drug issues? Because unless we remove what attracts the people to Kwats and Kwatsa, the people will keep coming back. So we're saying, even we're going all out to remove. But if you leave the space like that, then the next group will come back. And this is the partnership I'm looking for here. Through JDA, we're able to identify disused buildings. These buildings were then developed and brought to a standard where people could live there. And then NGOs were contracted by the city to run the facility and actually do the developmental aspect, do the linkages with families, identify further partners, and do all to try and help the people in there. Do we want to encourage that person to stay at an intersection? At the danger of the cars, at the danger of smash and grabs, at the danger of all types of things, at the danger of exposing this little child to the curfews, to the sun, to the, all types of things. But we are saying, let's get into a partnership where jointly we identify an NGO or a feeding place where we say, let's take the donations there. Let's encourage the people. Drive around with pamphlets that says, are you hungry? Go to 52 Klein Street and you'll be fed, you will be clothed. We're not saying don't give, but we're saying let's punish it in such a way that this person does not find it necessary to stand at a street corner, but knows exactly where to go for help. Because poverty is with us, unfortunately.